After realizing his A-rank party was filled with a bunch of incompetent members who almost drove him into debt, Yuke decided to quit the popular adventuring party, Thunder Pike. He then joined a D-rank party filled with his former students, exploring the dungeon and earning the respect he deserved. In a mysterious dungeon, a party sealed a magical door, stopping a culling event from happening. The leader explained that, although they had succeeded with the seal, it was only a matter of time, as the reverse dungeon tenebrae would eventually consume their world unless the Demon King was defeated. However, another member of the party told them not to worry, as he was optimistic a new party of heroes would appear after them to carry on their will and save the world. Many years later, in another dungeon, a party faced off against a Hydra beast. After a series of well-coordinated attacks, they defeated the monster before showing appreciation to the camera as their battle was being live-streamed. The name of the party was Thunder Pike, and it was led by the famous adventurer Simon, who had many fans. That night, the party would face an issue, as Yuke, the B-rank red mage of the party, was unhappy with the distribution of rewards, claiming his were too small. After confronting the group, Yuke requested a raise. However, Simon arrogantly refused, saying the distribution of the reward was based on how much a member contributed. When Yuke claimed he contributed just as much as the rest, Simon denied it, with Jamie, the witch of the party, supporting Simon's claim. When Yuke tried to explain how much he contributed, Camilla, the priestess, opposed him again, this time with Barry, the warrior, supporting her. Simon then proceeded to call Yuke an ingrate, claiming he was the one who got Yuke to such a high level and into the A-rank party. However, Yuke would have none of it, explaining that he was going into debt from his multiple purchases favoring the party. After chugging down and finishing his drink, Yuke quit, ignoring the jest of the other members, who assumed no other party would take him in as a member. The next day, Yuke met up with the guild receptionist Mamar to sign up for a new party. After filling out a form to get him on any party's watch list, he was ambushed by a girl in armor who leapt at him, calling him her sensei. When Yuke got himself together, he realized it was a student he taught at an adventurer's camp, Marina. After finding out that Yuke wanted to join a party, Marina immediately hopped on the offer and requested Yuke join hers, which consisted of former students of his. Later that day, he met up with the two other members, Silk, a ranger, and Rain, a mage. They happily accepted the idea of Yuke joining them, but wondered if he was fine with dropping from a popular A-rank party to a shitty D-rank group like theirs. After Yuke confirmed he was fine with it, they decided to go on a quest the girls had already accepted. Their quest was to mine some magic iron ores from a dungeon, which suited Yuke, as he didn't want to do too much work. When they got to the dungeon, Silk explained that they would normally need to get to the 6th floor to mine the ores. However, they didn't want to fight the 5th floor boss, so they needed Yuke's experience to go around it. Yuke suggested they head to the 1st floor to check, so the party headed in, with Marina, the sword tank, taking the lead. After seeing Marina walk around hitting the ground with a pole due to the poor visibility, Yuke suggested he take the lead, contradicting his teachings that the warrior had to take the lead in the absence of an assassin or thief. When Marina asked why, Yuke brought out a lamp, explaining that he wasn't as unprepared as them in the dungeon. With the help of his detecting lantern, Yuke led the party across the dungeon, avoiding traps and dangerous holes along the way. After reaching a new area in the dungeon, they faced wolf-like monsters, which the party easily defeated, using Yuke's special enhancement magic. When the group realized Yuke could enhance using 3 simultaneous spells, they wondered if he was actually a B-rank or a fraud who hid his power. They proceeded along the dungeon once again, chatting on the way, until they were ambushed by a group of undead minor monsters. Once again, Yuke used his enhancement magic to amplify the girls' power, making the battle easier for them. While they continued walking, Yuke poured a mysterious liquid on the ground. When Silk asked whether Yuke was feeling all right, he assured her he was fine, but simply poured holy water he created on the ground to prevent more undead monsters from ambushing them. After getting to a resting point on the 4th floor, Yuke decided to show off in front of the girls, offering to prepare them a meal. He brought out a magic bag and prepared food using a rare cooking equipment he had purchased for his former party. When Silk saw the food was emanating mana, she asked Yuke why, which he explained by claiming cooking was alchemy. Once they were done resting, the group continued their quest and finally got to a mining spot where they would have to face a rock lizard. Using his red mage magic, Yuke debuffed the rock lizard and amped his party mates, allowing Marina to easily slice through the monster before pulling yet another rare feat by refreshing Marina's vitality. They mined through the lizard and got all its ore. However, it wasn't enough, causing Yuke to propose that they go to the 6th floor. Although the girls exclaimed, bothered that they couldn't handle the 5th floor boss, Yuke promised to take care of it, telling the team he wanted to help as well. When the group got to the battle scene, Yuke decided he'd record the battle like he always did before. However, after a confusing discussion on the combat, Marina convinced Yuke to stream his battle to the general public. At that moment, they decided to name their party Clover, referencing their number in the group with Yuke as its leader. After getting that out of the way, Yuke amplified himself, started the streaming, and went into the floor boss's quarters before spamming the monster with debuffs and low diffing it to oblivion. With the monster defeated, Yuke put its corpse in his bag to sell it for a price before joining the girls to check its drop item, a box filled with magic ores. Now, with their first quest as the party Clover completed, Yuke would prepare to explore the dungeon with a party composed of his former students. Live-streamed videos were constantly a rampage in the world of adventuring, and it was one of the ways Thunderpike made a big name for itself. After Yuke's wonderful display in the battle against the floor boss, he put Clover on the map as well, as the livestream was well received, winning the most popular stream of the week. While on their way home, the girls glazed at Yuke throughout the journey, praising him for single-handedly defeating a steel crab, even though he was a B-rank red mage. They confirmed that he would be the leader of the party, as he was the most experienced and their former teacher. Meanwhile, in another dungeon, Thunderpike had gotten themselves in a jam, as they were faced with multiple lizard-like monsters who massively outnumbered them. When Simon requested Barry's help, the warrior was unable to provide any, as he was facing big issues of his own. The party struggled to continue the battle before eventually being forced to retreat after one of the monsters terribly injured Jamie. While in the resting room, Jamie continued to lose a lot of blood, as Camilla was out of mana, and the rest of the party were too useless to either bring mana-refreshing potions or healing potions. Their new member, Cork, was the only one among them who had a single healing potion, and after reluctantly handing it over to Simon, he called the team a bunch of slops, blaming them for not preparing well. Later that day at the guild, Yuke and his new party, Clover, celebrated their first quest completion with a round of drinks. Yuke presented the money they earned from the quest and from selling the defeated monsters' corpses, then asked the team how they planned on sharing the money. However, he would be surprised to find out that the team managed their money in a more efficient and orderly way. After hearing that Silk kept all the money with the intention of saving it for a new party home, Yuke happily agreed to their idea, handing the money over to the Dark Elf. On the bottom side of the building, Thunderpike was slowly breaking down, with Simon and Barry claiming their poor expedition was a result of their new subpar chore boy and his selfishness. The party began to play the blame game, ending in Cork quitting just like his predecessor, who looked down on the party and saw their poor form. Back at Clover's table, the group decided to plan a schedule for their adventuring and daily activities. Just then, the announcement of Yuke's spectacular show in the dungeon came up once again, shocking Yuke and his party, who couldn't believe they had so many views and reactions in such a short time. On the other hand, Simon, who saw the video as well, could only show irritation, as the member he claimed was useless had begun to succeed while Thunderpike plummeted. Clover rounded up their night with another cheer, as the party was happy about their success and aimed to tighten their bond. A few days later, Yuke met up with Mamar at 3 Dungeon, requesting that she help him procure a good enough quest for his new party. After an unnecessary flirting session and checking of details, Mamar got the quest for him and left to process it. A few seconds after she'd left, the rest of Clover joined up with Yuke, and he explained the details of the quest to them. Although the girls were skeptical about facing a magical beast, Yuke convinced them it would be good for experience, promising them he'd take control in case anything else happened. When Mamar came back with the fully processed quest and its details, she discussed them with Yuke, who was being spied on by a creepy, obese figure from the shadows. Later that day, while Yuke walked around the town preparing for his quest, he finally noticed his stalker. He maneuvered around the town, hoping to lose the cholesterol ambassador on his tail. However, the creep caught up to him. After the man confronted Yuke, he ordered the red mage to leave Clover, which Yuke refused to do, given he had recently joined the party and was their leader. When the obese warrior attempted to attack Yuke, hoping to force him into submission, he slipped on a magic trap spell, which Yuke had set the moment they started their conversation. After seeing that the weirdly dressed creep was knocked out, Yuke left to join his party. In the wagon, Silk apologized to Yuke, explaining that the man was an adventurer named Salus, who constantly offered to join their party. When they gave him a chance, he proved absolutely useless as a teammate and adventurer, so they rejected him. After getting that out of the way, Yuke explained their mission, which was to fetch some special stones from the Yomoon waterfall. The quest would prove difficult, as there was a mysterious magical beast in the area preventing regular people from fetching them. Just then, Yuke began to analyze the sketchy details of the quest, which he forgot to think through before, and realized there might be a bigger threat than he had anticipated. He then decided that if they were to come up against a dangerous magical beast, they'd stream the battle with a camera, which would display any peril they would face in the guild. When they got to the forest, Yuke proposed a battle strategy, requesting that Marina lead the party while he guarded the back. After they got to the waterfall, it all seemed right until they sensed a spine-shivering presence coming from behind them. Not wasting any time, Yuke immediately began live streaming, and when the party looked back, they realized they had been in more danger than they had anticipated, as the monster was a Zarnog, one of the high-ranked monsters from deep in the dungeon. When Yuke ordered the girls to run away while he stalled the monster, the party refused, claiming they would battle the monster with their leader. Knowing that they'd only keep arguing if he denied their request, Yuke agreed to let them fight. He enhanced his teammates and employed his usual tactic of spamming the monster with debuffs. However, they weren't nearly enough, as the monster continued to resist, bringing down a large tree and pushing Marina back. After realizing his options were limited, Yuke requested that Marina buy him time while he charged up a new spell to take the monster down. When the monster continued to overpower Marina, Silk and Rain were forced to join in the fray, using their magic to hold back the monster while Marina fought. When the girls could barely keep it up, Yuke had finally finished his chant and fired his colorful spell, Prismatic Missile, hoping it would be enough to bring the monster down. After the impact of the spell, the Zarnag began to ooze a black liquid, showing it took an insane amount of damage. However, it wasn't enough to stop the Zarnag completely, as the monster could still move, charging towards them, before stopping to bleed again. Rain took the opportunity and cast a level 5 lightning spell, frying the Zarnag, but once again, it wasn't enough, as the monster remained standing with little vitality. When Yuke realized they only needed one more powerful hit, he amplified Marina's sword and enhanced her ability, making it easy for her to slice through the monster, making it fail in its attempt to die standing like Whitebeard from One Piece. After finally seeing the monster down, the party rejoiced and ended the live stream. In the town, there was commotion all around, as the people were surprised the D-rank adventuring party could beat a monster as powerful as the Zarnog. Back at the waterfall, Yuke began to feel dizzy as he had used too much mana to defeat the monster. He met up with the girls, who were still celebrating, and told them he'd planned a lecture for them, highlighting their mistakes. However, the girls would Uno reverse him, claiming he deserved a lecture of his own for planning to sacrifice himself. They decided to let it go, and Yuke proposed an idea where he'd set up camp while the girls took a bath in the waterfall. As the girls swam and played in the water, Yuke set up their resting spot, reminiscing about the first time he took the girls camping. They went on a practice adventure where he explained the girls' weaknesses to them before setting up a camp together and cooking with magic. When he had finished his flashback, he smiled, laughing that he couldn't have predicted a plot twist where he'd be in the same party as them. The next day, Clover was invited to a meeting with the guildmaster. While the girls waited with anxiety, wondering what they had done wrong, Yuke seemed to be more irritated. After waiting for a bit, the guildmaster finally showed up, filling the area with his immense aura. He attempted to intimidate the party, scaring Marina, Silk, and Rain. However, Yuke was unfazed by the guildmaster's tough talk, calling the man by his true name, Benwood. Although Silk had started to panic, bothered that Yuke was being rude to the guildmaster, Benwood laughed, praising Yuke for remaining tough and asking the party to take a seat. They began to discuss the details of the incident, with Yuke assuming it was the start of a serious phenomenon called the overflow. When the girls asked for clarification, Yuke explained that it was a situation where the dungeons had more monsters than they could contain, forcing them to release the excess into the outside world. The guildmaster thanked Yuke for his analysis and apologized for putting the party in danger with a monster beyond their level. He then rewarded them by promoting the other members of Clover to C rank, praising them for their job well done in the stream. When Yuke asked the guildmaster if he was sure of his decision, Benwood confirmed, surprising Yuke as well by promoting him to A rank. He reminded Yuke that the red mage used an unknown spell, proving the rumors that there was more to him than others knew. After leaving the office, the members of Clover went to the Guild Inn, where they collected their reward and celebrated their new ranks. After counting the money they earned and the platinum reward Benwood offered Yuke, they realized that they could now afford the guild base they had planned on getting. The group celebrated a new goal accomplished once again, and Rain came up with a query. She asked Yuke what his goal was, as the other members of Clover had achieved what they wanted. However, Yuke's goal would be something they couldn't dream of at the moment. When Marina asked why that was, he explained that he wanted to explore the Abyss Gate, a realm said to be at the end of the world, which he found fascinating. The girls were amazed at how dreamy their teacher was, wondering if the same stuck-up man who constantly talked about dungeons was the adventurer in front of them. They cheered to their new life as a party, hoping that they would one day be strong enough to face the Abyss Gate. The next week, Clover remained a big sensation in the town as their battles were being streamed everywhere. The group had once again defeated a strong monster, gaining the affection of the people. However, a particular group, Thunderpike, was annoyed by the display, confused that Yuke was succeeding without them. Barry complained that the only reason they weren't as good as before was that they had no good help, while Simon was simply only bothered that Yuke was in the limelight. When the party awaited Jamie's input, they realized the witch wasn't there, calling her a selfish, useless member. In her home, Jamie was holed up on her bed, watching Yuke and Clover's successful stream. While on their way home, Clover discussed the planning for their base, choosing a location and other important details. When they got to the guild entrance, they were intercepted by Simon, who asked to chat with Yuke. After Yuke excused the girls, Simon confronted Yuke, blaming him for the dip in quality of Thunderpike. He claimed Yuke left them to suffer, saying he was a terrible childhood friend. However, Yuke was uninterested, calling his statements insignificant yap, as the party dared him to leave. When Simon attempted to recruit Yuke back into the party, he was rejected, with Yuke claiming he wanted nothing to do with selfish nobodies, slamming the former star down before meeting up with his party, who had been eavesdropping. However, a hideous, obese figure in the background saw the rejection as an opportunity, hoping to take control of Simon's newfound hatred. After getting back in, Yuke was ambushed by his party, who confronted him after hearing Simon's offer. When Yuke confirmed he wasn't planning on leaving Clover, the girls were overjoyed, thanking their former teacher for choosing them over his old flame. With his new party booming and making waves, Yuke joined the girls as they went to the bar to celebrate another successful quest. Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.